think if I can get this industrial kitchen that I'm trying to get, some of them will end up being chefs, and if we could open a restaurant, that would be great. Restaurant jobs are great for teenagers who will be in the program a couple years down the road. They can cut vegetables and drop food off the table as waiters.
It's a starting position.
I think I'm not sure college is right for everybody.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
I'd love them to have all the skill sets so that they could make the decision about whether they want to go to college or not. But
I agree.
Frankly, one of the kids I'm working with, he wants to be an engineer. And so we've been really, really fortunate to work with a local nonprofit that's doing house construction and doing LEED Platinum, which is like environmentally kind of like carbon neutral stuff, like the leading environmental materials and all these kinds of things. And I was thinking about it. I said, this kid's going to have a really hard time getting into college because his test scores aren't going to be able to reflect what he knows from working on the most environmentally advanced and engineered houses in the world. But maybe if he writes his essay about, for 4 years I've been installing solar panels and permeable sidewalks and working with houses that you could mulch up and grow vegetables in, and they're perfectly safe. Yeah. And I understand this about it and that, and gray water systems and rain catchment and all that. They might say, what, this kid has the experience that will actually...
I think it's entirely possible that colleges and universities will consider something more than grades on an entrance exam. Yeah. In fact, I think they're doing that now. So, but now let me ask, and you mentioned you're working on repairing or reconstructing the building. How far along are you?
We've gotten, the building had quite a bit of damage. It's an older building, and so we had some warping of wood. We had a lot of small things that had to be dealt with. It took a couple months to get that stuff together.
But do you have volunteers helping you with the construction work?
Yeah, I've definitely had some volunteers. I had a great master carpenter, John Sutcliffe, who did an outstanding job and helped with some really heavy-duty stuff. I would say that we're at the point where we're ready to run electric and plumbing and HVAC for final inspection.
All right. Now, what you're just talking about involves having some funds available. Where does your fund come from?
I have been really, really fortunate that so many people from across the city and across the world have stepped forward to help in various ways.
Yes.
I think it would be nice if I had a more constant source of income that would cover program costs at large. But I cashed in my retirement. When I moved into the building, I had $12 in my pocket, and I cashed in my retirement. And a lot of that's gone for vehicles, insurance, fuel.
Are you getting anything from organizations or grants or?
I am really, really fortunate to be part of the Lower Ninth Ward Urban Farming Coalition, which is a group of organizations and individuals in the Lower Ninth Ward who do urban farming, and we were privileged to receive a grant of $25,000 from the Greater New Orleans Foundation Environmental Fund, and that's going to help.
Should be very helpful. Yeah.
Well, that's going to help with the urban farming part, but then there's a lot of other,
I understand. Well, do you have you applied or with other organizations that other nonprofits that could help you out, and are you getting some encouragement?
We've got some things in the works, but everybody should feel free to make a donation whenever and wherever they can. Dig deep.
Well, why don't you let people know how to get in touch with, how to contact you?
Sure. Call my cell phone, area code 718-415-0890.
Say that twice so people can write it down.
My cell phone number is 718-415-0890.
And do you have a website?
Yeah, if you type in school at Blair Grocery on Google, you'll find my blog spot. School at Blair Grocery. Yeah. Google that, and then it'll take you to your website. All right. Well, I just want to let whoever's watching this show know that, and it's very much appreciated. That that you need some help. I know that you do. Yeah. Well, we have about a few minutes left, and there must be things that I haven't even asked you about. Anything else you want to take advantage of this time to get the word out? Yeah, I think maybe to talk about the role of faith in working with young folks.
All right, well, go ahead, as long as you recognize what show you're on. But
yeah, no. Well, that's the whole thing. I'm reminded. I'm sure many of your many folks who are watching this are familiar with William James's essay in 1896, "The Will to Believe," in which he's asked whether. Well, he discusses a bunch of different things, but the one that's relevant here is where he says, faith in a fact can create a fact itself. He's not talking about faith in God, but he's talking about the role of faith, the role of belief in making things happen. You know, when people might say visualizing, and I guess I think that the faith of a lot of our teenagers has been shaken. I think that their families and neighborhoods and they're
leaving them without hope.
Exactly.
All right.
And that what we really have to do is we have to have faith to kind of sustain them and keep them going until such time as they can actually...
so when you say faith, you mean some confidence that things can happen?
Absolutely. I mean, you have faith that, the person driving next to you isn't going to swerve into your lane. You have to have faith. You have to have, you can call it confidence.
All right. Well, I appreciate you're using the word that way.
And that's what William James is talking about in the essay. He's an American pragmatist. He's not a, I don't think that the idea
and quoting from the Bible, which says faith, hope, and charity, and the greatest of these is charity, which means doing good. Right?
Absolutely.
And of course, we certainly support that aspect of it. The golden rule, do unto others. And so, if you're instilling in your people, some realistic expectation that they can have a better life, what more could be asked of you?
Right. Well, I think to make sure it happens. I think that's the key.
Well, I think we probably have another minute, which is yours if you want it.
I think I would probably encourage folks to, look at every teenager in the city as if they were their own child, and not throw up your hands. And not give up, because if it was your kid, you would go the extra mile, and spend, focusing on the kids. I think it would be great if we could figure out a measure of our social health as a community, where we actually looked at the health in a very broad-based sense of children, and that was actually the measure that we used for whether how we're doing as a people.
Listen, I want to thank you very much for being with us, Nat.
Thank you.
And I hope you can continue to get the message out, that your good message, and so we'll look forward to what happens in the future.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a pleasure having you here, and I want to say to you folks who are watching, come back to see us again.